up, everybody? I'm Jeremy. You guys are watching and or listening to Inside the Coils. Greatly appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, guys. Just that camera a little bit. It's a little bit off. Anyway, guys, this was a very exhausting weekend. We had the Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC. Shout out to them. Always put on a great show. Friday night, it's always a blast. Stayed out a little bit longer than what I should have, though. Definitely stayed out longer than I should have. Because what I do is I set up, we all go out to eat, and then this time, instead of going home after going out to eat, I went out to the bar with the gang. I only had one drink while I was at the bar, though, so I was good. But then I've got an hour and 20-minute drive home because I'm not going to buy a room or rent a room from one of the hotels for a night when I only have an hour drive. So, so I do the drive. So, Brandon, you can see the carpets in the back there, dude. I do not get the biggins out at nighttime. The lights have been off, and no. The carpets are a no-go. They're in that routine that once those lights have gone off, they know that if any interaction happens, it's food. So, I don't mess with the carpets at night. Made that mistake once with that big guy, and he let me know that it was not time to be handled. Nighttime is food time. So that being said, though, so we had it was a different show. I'm not gonna lie, it was really weird. I expected a little bit bigger turnout than what there was, but I mean, I always have a good time. Some people did good on sales. I know I was bad, and I broke my. I have this whole thing that when I'm vending a show, I try not to buy anything because I want to go home with more money in my pocket than what I went there with. I did not do that this time. I did buy something this time, and it was a good purchase. I couldn't pass it up, to say the least. But that being said, you guys are going to have to wait for that one because that's going to get thrown in. There's now 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 6 animals here. You guys are going to get to find out what they are probably middle to late November, depending when the other 2 get here. But yeah, some really cool stuff that has been purchased. You guys don't even know what it all is. Some of you know. Not all of you. Those that do know, keep your mouth shut. Like, don't break the surprise for everybody. But yeah, so the show was fun. I had a good time. Foot traffic was a little bit slower than what I expected. I expected a lot more. But that being said, though, you got to take into consideration, or I got to sit and back think about this whole day today. It's hunting season. It is prime time hunting season right now here in Pennsylvania. So there's probably a lot of people out in the woods, out in the mountains. A lot of families go with whichever significant other does want to go hunting because they enjoy the getaway up to the mountains. Who doesn't want to go up, hang out in the woods, and just kind of be away from all the craziness that's been going on lately. You've got that. There's been several shows that are. You had Scranton today. Hamburg wasn't that long ago. Oaks is in 2 weeks. So there's just a lot of compounding factors that I think kind of contributed to the slower day. Some people did have a good day, though. Others not so much, but that's kind of how it is, though, folks. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good shows, you're gonna have bad shows. But stick it out to the end, guys, because you never know. Some people will call me crazy. I had one gentleman after my amazing, beautiful fire zebra bee. I refused to let this boy go for any less than what was on his display. Gentleman bugged, tried to get me to come down. I flat out, you guys will tell me I'm crazy for not dropping a price. You're thinking, Jeremy, you didn't, someone wanted a spider combo and you didn't, fire sale the thing? Correct. Told the gentleman politely, if it's going to go at full price because I don't mind if it stays. I'm kind of attached to it. I'm not going to lie. It's probably one of the most beautiful zebra bees I've made so far to date. And if he doesn't go, the price is what the price is, and that's what it's going to take to move him. So, needless to say, after several times with the gentleman coming back, I guess he changed his mind, left the animal go. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I was happy that the boy came back with me. And I'll show him off quick because the balls do not get all feisty and cranky like the carpets do at night. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at that. How could you not? Like, that's just freaking, that is black and white, y'all. This is my boy that I just refuse to let go for any less than what his sticker price is. I mean, he's just absolutely gorgeous. And if you want him, you got to pay full price. But he's just absolutely gorgeous. Eats great, too. You guys know my love for axanthic stuff. So, axanthic everything. Get back in your tub, though. All right. Let's go ahead. We'll run the first channel sponsor, and then we'll go through, say hi to some folks. Let me see here. Here we go.
Make sure you check out Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. He is your guy to go to if you want to get into the Bang project. On top of it, he's working a bunch of awesome ball python projects. Kahua geckos, Leachianus geckos, crested geckos, some scaleless corn snakes, and he is your one-stop shop for all your branding needs. So check him out. Check out Chris Shelley over at S Reptilia if you need a high-end ball python, blood python, locality boa, or colubrid. He's also Pennsylvania's distributor of Coco to Go and the Chipper, and he can also hook you up with some rats. So make sure you guys check out Chris over at S Reptilia.
Thank you very much, guys, for being channel sponsors to the OGs that have supported me from day one. Crazy people. I tell you what, who in the world would have thought some little nobody would have a YouTube channel, especially when that nobody didn't. Yeah. If you guys would ask Don what I thought about YouTubers and all that crap, told him, you're freaking nuts for even thinking about trying to take that anywhere. I mean, it's not that I'm world famous or anything, but it's definitely a lot farther along in the world with YouTube than what I had ever expected. So, anyway, let's go through, say hi to some folks. Tara, you are first, girl, and one of our top tier channel members as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. And also, Tara also brings the Yoo-hoo for the Gettysburg Reptile Expo. She is the one that hooks us up with the good luck. So thank you very much, Tara. I'm not going to lie. I actually forgot partway through the day that I even had Yoo-hoo. Like, it was not a very Yoo-hoo filled day. Like, it was rough, guys. It was rough. Like, I would get swamped to where I had people, like, total blockade across two tables. It was just shoulder to shoulder of people, and then it would just disappear. And then another rush of people would come. It was nuts. And I didn't have Dom, which really sucked. It made me realize that to do two tables, like, I've got to start bribing him, I think. Hopefully next time I'll have him, because it would have been so much nicer. Might have been able to help some people a little bit better. But yeah, lessons learned, always changing, always learning, and all that good shit. Greg and TJ, what's going on? Good to see you. I hope you guys had a safe drive. It was good hanging out with you out at the show. They were set up across from me. James, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Look at this guy, Will, CNC Pythons. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Another channel member. And on top of it, this man finally, someone has picked up the high OD pied female. Will got it, which probably doesn't surprise anybody, because let's face it, Will is addicted to snakes. And Will got a beauty. I will tell you that much, Will. I'm super happy that she went to you. Congrats, congrats, congrats. Upstate New York, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Brandon, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, like I said before, man, carpets are a no-go at nighttime. I mean, like, some of the yearlings I would get out, but then I'm not going to be pulling snakes out like crazy tonight. But thank you very much for tuning in. Tara says the show was super fun. Tara, you guys were there all day walking around. You and Scott had to be freaking tired. Old World, what's up, Marcy? Good to see you. It's good to see you out at Gettysburg as well. Jolly, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you in the chat tonight. Will says he doesn't think he can bring kids to the shows anymore. Brandon says, when you put a max amount of effort into your animals, you know their worth and value. Yes, that is exactly it. Not only that, I mean, I will tell you this much. He is slightly overpriced, but his quality is out of this world, though, too. He is super, super freaking clean and black and white. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you want it, you gotta pay for it. You gotta pay for it sometimes. And I said, like, I love zebra bees. That's been like one of the animals I've just loved from day one. Like, that was the one thing that made me fall in love with Axanthic, that and the Stormtrooper. But like, I've yet to keep one for myself, and that's one that I'm okay with keeping for myself. Look at this. Jessica from the Holdback Rack. What's going on? Good to see you in the chat tonight. Thank you very much. Carissa, what's going on? Good to see you. Chris, another channel member. What's going on, dude? Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well. See, Will says she is amazing. And Chris, you're right. He does have the snakes. Tara, I did not at all. So just so everybody knows, we got Hadley's beta fish died a couple months ago. Girl was devastated. Old dad came in to save the day and shot himself in the foot and said, "Don't worry, sweetie, we'll get you a turtle," because daddy knew little princess always has been bugging for a turtle. We've been setting up this enclosure for this turtle for, let me say, about a month, just buying a little bit here and there, not just thinking things through and everything. Got a piece of wood for make it look really nice for, an aquatic design. Did not look up how much tannin is in, how do you say it? Mopani wood, or how do you say it? It's the like Mopani wood, something like that. Anyway, turned the freaking water tea brown. So I was on the look for wood, driftwood at the show that was what, like, I'm very picky with aesthetics, and I just could not find a piece of wood that fit, what I wanted to do with it. So needless to say, Tara, there is no wood at all in the tank. We did add some extra plants into it, though, so little guy is doing good. We ended up getting Hadley a baby concentric diamondback terrapin. Little thing is freaking cute as hell, and Hadley's obsessed with it. Hudson just sits there nonstop going turtle at the tank, and yeah, like, the kids love it. Kara loves the little thing. I get a kick out of watching him. So good stuff. Nice little way, another way for me to hook Hadley into the hobby, as well as Hudson. Yes, he definitely does get the snakes. Let's see who else we got here. Phil, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Phil did really good at the show. Good to see you, bro. It's great. I wish I got to hang out with you more yesterday at the show, though. Like, once the show's, like, I was so busy figuring out the turtle stuff and trying to figure out what turtle we were going to get and all that stuff. So yeah, like, it was just a busy morning, and then the show started, and I really didn't leave my table until like 3/4 of the way through the day. But Phil, good to see you, bro. Glad you had a good show. Let's see here. All right, Will says he's kept aquariums. All right, dude. Yeah, like, right now, the way everything's set up, I'm completely happy with it. So we'll have to see. Maybe I'll add wood later on. I don't know. I might add a really neat rock. I mean, with doing, like, my line of work, I do come across some pretty cool rocks and stuff. Some stuff with crystals and stuff like that in. So maybe we'll see. We'll see what I do. But yeah, thank you very much, dude, for even wanting to help my sorry poor ass out. But yeah, so tonight's guest, folks, is John Dague from JD Constriction. John's going to be here a little bit later. It's going to kind of be like what we did with Riley. John's got some stuff going on. So I told him I'll try to carry the show until he gets here, and then we'll rock and roll for a little while with John. It won't be as much JD content as what it would be if, you know, he came right off the rip. But it was kind of, it actually really was short notice on my part. I've been slacking on some stuff. Thought I had a guest book. I didn't. And you know what? I've been dying to get John back on. So he will be on here at some point. So super excited about that. You know, so some of those guys have been doing it and that are so well known. You kind of you go with what works for them sometimes. You gotta work with their schedules, especially like they got families, stuff like that. You gotta be super understanding. So it's gonna be me solo for a little bit. So does anybody have any questions, or does anybody have any topics that they would like me to cover with John? I do have a small list of things that I thought will basically probably take us up to the end of the show. But if anybody has any, you know, topics that you think would be a good thing to run past John or talk with them on, you know, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll either write them down or star them, so that way we can go through them. But yeah, let's, you know, if there's something that you guys would be interested in hearing from him, you know, drop it in the comments there, and we'll definitely try to touch base on it. But update for here. Well, yeah. See, that's the other, like, with holidays coming up, man. Like, that might be part of it. But I know shows closer to Christmas do a little bit better, just because, believe it or not, people actually like do buy other people's things and reptiles for, you know, Christmas and stuff. So it you know, it could be beneficial. It can also hurt at the same time. Tara says, it was super crazy to see a mom want to get a snake for the kids and dad say no. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Tara, actually, she came back later on, and actually not that much later. And like, she was very excited about getting a snake. I told her, you know, she's asking what she was going to need, how much stuff was going to cost. So I kind of walked her through like the basic, you know, this is what stuff is going to, price wise, roughly what she's looking at spending to get, you know, the setup done. Did tell, you know, you might want to go to my YouTube channel and watch some of these setup videos, because you could tell like this was a whole new thing. She was all excited, but it's all new, and it's a lot to take in for somebody that's just brand new and doesn't really know or understand like the care that's required and what they're getting into with it. So hopefully she does go back through and check out the channel. I know after, like, subscriber counts have been really slow here. I'm going to say like the past 2 weeks. After the show, subscriber count jumped up a good bit. So I think there's a bunch of people that did subscribe after the show. So that was cool. Did make a little sale here after the show as well. So that made me have, you know, nice little way to wrap it up. It's always cool when you get those sales, the post-show sales. I think that's a really neat little bounce back, I guess. But yeah, Tara was actually the one I left my stand in charge with, so I could go on the search for some of this driftwood that I didn't find that I wanted. Greg says, we had a dad come up to the table 4 times looking to get a snake for his daughter. He was looking around, they came back asking questions, finally bought a snake for us. That's freaking awesome, Greg. Absolutely awesome. He says Nathan helped out a bit with the sale. That happens. I mean, I sent somebody over to Danny. You know, Danny got a sale off of that person. I sent somebody. Actually, I sent that mom that was over at my stand over to Nathan to get an enclosure. I don't think she got the enclosure, though. I think she was, like I said, I think she needed to do a little bit more research. But that being said, you know, I did send her, you know, if I can send people over to my friends that I know have what they need, what they want or need, I do it. Like, I'm not one of those guys that will put my needs above the customers. At the last hamburger, I downsold myself. I could have sold a much higher price snake to a customer, but the cheaper snake that I had worked so much better for their project. So I offered that animal, put that in, you know, in front of them, and, you know, talked them through what, how to go about with that animal, what the, how much cooler that path might be, because it would lead to double visual stuff. And needless to say, they went with the cheaper animal, not because it was cheaper, but because it fit the project better, allowed them to make cooler, more powerful stuff. It just, sometimes you got to put the customer's needs first, and they'll remember that. They will remember that next time it comes around, and they'll come back to you because they know that you took care of them. You didn't put money before customer service and stuff like that. Brian and Holly, Sky High Morphs, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Yeah, it was this. Like I said, this weekend was Gettysburg. It was cool. Got to see a lot of fun people. Got to meet Glenn from 419 Morphs finally in person. He was crazy enough to make the drive out. Got the trying to think of who. Due to popular or due to unpopular belief, maybe I don't know. Unlike people think, the PA crew does not hate the Fat Man. That's right. Chris Eaton himself was at Gettysburg this weekend. I shook the man's hand. I didn't have much of a chance to talk to him, in all honesty. Shook his hand, though, introduced myself. It was cool to meet the Fat Man in person. Talked to him while I forget where I was walking to. Talked to him for, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds like that. Just kind of shooting the shit as we were kind of both going the same way. But got to meet him. That was kind of cool. Got to finally meet Kevin from Sugar Skull Serpents. Was bullshitting with him for a little bit. Got to see Paul from Large March Morphs again as well. I don't get to see him that often. But it was cool to meet Kevin as well. I've talked with Kevin a good bit here throughout different chats and stuff. And, never got to meet the guy in person. Saw him online, during live, stuff like that. But, never, got to talk with Kevin in person. And look at this guy. Here is the PA Fat Man himself, Chris from Balls Deep. Chris, no matter what, bro, I still say our Fat Man is better. Tell you what, though, folks, I'll tell you this much. Chris was crying to me yesterday about his zebra carpet that he got, and he didn't get it from me. I will tell you that much now. Probably why he doesn't want it. It's just not up, not cool enough. But anyway, he does have a beautiful zebra carpet up for grabs. So if you are in the market for a zebra carpet python, hit Chris up. It is a female. She's got a little bit of a toot, but she'll work through it, work with her a little bit. But, I think it's just too much snake for old Chris there. But anyway, we had this whole joke going on that, we need to have a sticker of Chris sitting in his chair sleeping and make it say around the sticker, our Fat Man's better, or something like that, and just kind of have fun with it. But yeah. So Chris, it was good seeing you. Good to hanging out with you, bullshitting with you as well. 319 Reptiles, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Here's something I've heard in the past at a pet store is if my wife's on her, does a steak pick up on the scent active? Yeah. I've never heard that. I've never heard that at all. Chris, BNS Reptilia, my brother, one of literally the OG channel sponsor. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Chris, I know, man. I look hot in seafoam green, boy. I do need one of those new shirts, though, dude. Like, I'm not going to lie. I like this color, but the new shirt color, dude, I really do dig. Like, it is, like, it's brighter. I like the brightness of it. So I do need a new shirt, dude. I need one of the new shirts. Kai, another one of the channel sponsors. What's up, dude? Good to see you. I didn't get to watch your video today that you posted. That is on my list to do. But yeah, good to see you, bro. I wish I would have gotten to talk with you a little bit more and actually see what you had at the expo. Like, I just completely got sidetracked. Are you guys going? No. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. And that shirt clashes with the hat. I tell you what would go good with this shirt is the new Triforce hat. I will tell you that much now. The Triforce hat would look banging with this shirt or the new BNS shirts. Let's see, your chat's going off. Yeah, see, look, Phil's saying looking sexy. Man, I'm gonna start wearing seafoam green more often, guys. Let's see here. Trying to catch up. My shirt guy is having issues getting my color. We need to have a talk with him. Chris, that's all on you, dude. They apparently that your shirt guy's got a. I think he's on the. I don't want to say on the side of the people that want me to have a baby at the same time as you. So yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to anger him because I don't need anybody trying to seal the deal and like pay care off to make that happen. Yeah, see, yeah, it's like that's the thing. Like the slow had show moments, but like I never got away from the table. Really, it was weird. It was a really weird show. People were wanting weird things too. Let's see here. For anybody that's just jumping in, John will be on here hopefully soon. We'll see. I did know he did tell me he was going to be a little bit late. So if you guys do have any questions that you would like to add for me to ask him or topics to go over, drop them in the chat there. I'm gonna make sure. All right, I got to email John here. Hold on, guys. Hold the phone. See, I sent him the link via StreamYard. He needs it emailed. So let me get that done here quick. And we'll get back on with tonight's show because he should, I guess, be hopping on here directly. And there we go. Hopefully we get John on here in a minute. Let's see here. What else we got going on here in the chat? Tell John, Chris, when he gets on here, you can tell him that. Greg says, "Yep, you did get a steal, Will. You did get a steal, my brother." Jeremy, what's going on? Rising Phoenix, dude. You still didn't. You left the show without a carpet again, dude. Disappointed. I even tamed 2 of them down, and you still so disappointed, dude. So disappointed. Come over at Oaks if you're at Oaks or at Hamburg. There are 2 now that I have just calmed the wild beasts, and they are in they're just very mellow for the moment anyway. So yeah, 2 of them are calmed down. 2 out of the 3. Come over and get one, dude. Because I know you and your girlfriend would like one. Or at least she wants one anyway. That's how anyway, you need one. Nathan, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Another one of the channel sponsors. What's going on? Let's see here. Chris, he was at Gettysburg. He was over on the turf. I didn't get a chance to really swing by, say hi. I did see him over there on the turf, though. And I was running around like a wild man. But, so yeah, if anybody has any questions for John for when he does get on here, do feel free to put them down there. If you guys have any questions for me as well, I apologize here. Oh, here he is. All right. Let's bring on the Axanthic King. What's up, John?
Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Doing good, dude. Doing good. Super excited to have you on, bro.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. I'm ecstatic that you asked me back. So thank you for
Dude,
that.
hey, I appreciate you doing it because it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of short notice. I felt like a real jackass for such a short notice thing. But it's like, you know what? It's like if it works for you, we're gonna make we can make this work even if you're a little late. So we're good.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yep, I got the kids tonight, so I had to get them down first. But then, yeah, after they're good and asleep, yeah, I got some free time. So happy to be on. Thank you.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So I do want to give you an update.
All right, let's do it.
The two that I got from you, all right.
Yeah,
Frozen thaw, no problem.
great.
The clown boy, like you would swear he's starving. Like he just wants to eat like a beast. The female, she's quirky. You gotta lay it in there. You can't hold on to her or anything. You just gotta lay it in there, shut the tub, but then she eats it. So whatever.
Yep.
If it works, that's how she wants it. That's how we're gonna do it.
Yep. Yeah, I routinely have like adult breeders that when I get low on frozen thawed or I really want to push the size of the prey item that they're going to eat, I wouldn't throw a live large rat in with a big breeder female, but I'd throw a frozen thawed, and they'll take it down. And they've never had a frozen thawed in their entire life, right? So they'll just figure it out. So yeah, that's great.
No, they're doing good. I actually have several good pairings for him already. He hasn't figured out what to do yet with the girls. But he's still he's still young. He's still young. It's still early too. But super excited to see
Cool.
what he does do here, and hopefully we can get him rocking and rolling this season because I've got some killer stuff I've got him going to.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. It's honestly been exciting for me to see, I only recently checked Morph Market just to kind of see what SK stuff was out there, and kind of since the whole Black Axanthic, SK Axanthic, same thing, and just I'll say people working with the animals they purchased from me, 2-3 years ago, just seeing the quality of the animals that people are pumping out now is amazing to me. It's really, really exciting for me to see.
Well, dude, I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, like pictures never do Axanthics justice.
No.
And like knowing that when I got those, my jaw literally hit the freaking floor. Like
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Like absolutely just top notch, dude. Like hands
you.
down, like Axanthic king.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's always the response I appreciate the most is like when people see me at shows and then they come see the animals in person. They're like, "Oh man, wow, that looks so much better than I even thought it did." It's like, yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's kind of the reason we do it. So cool.
Now, what do you have going on new or what's new going on over there at JD Constriction?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. Depends how deep we want to take this, right? So, my personal life's gone through a huge change in the past year. So I'm now a single dad, basically 50% of the time. Yeah, no, it's been a journey, right? So the snakes, in all honesty, have taken a backseat to spending time and focusing on my kids and my family. When they're with me. So that's kind of a reason, if people are ever wondering like, hey, John's not getting back to me in, 2-3 days or even the same day like he used to. It's like, yeah, man, I'm super dad for basically the entire week until I get a week off in between. So, I kind of focus down on the animals and customers and everything else, outside of that time with my kids. So that's been a big change, and that's also caused me to kind of refocus on, what do I really want to do and spend time with from a business perspective, right? COVID and the couple of years after were huge for me. Like it grew the business, brought in a lot of new animals and new projects, etc., expanded my reptile room. But now I'm kind of going, okay, I have great proven breeder animals that are just not that much utility to me anymore. So I've been listing as of late, great breeder animals that I've used for sometimes upwards of 10 years that produce, great clutches for me, but the genetic statistics are not well aligned in those animals for producing the visuals that I need to make. I need to kind of focus down on making the most genetically diverse or most probabilistic combination that I want or that I want to produce. I want to make the most with less, basically.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, because I only have so much time in a week. So, so yeah, the things I'm kind of, I love clown axanthic stuff by far. That's probably my number one. I like certain situational axanthic pied things holistically. Like I've got a few, I'll say codom multi-gene 4, 5, 6, 7 gene combo things that I really want to see pan out. But aside
Okay.
from that, I'm looking at doubles and triples for for everything.
Oh,
We're working
nice.
DG into a lot of different things, hypo, true ghost into a lot of different things. And then pretty much the past 3-4 years of, I'll say, really awesome clown combos, I've been re-envisioning the ones that I think will look good in axanthic and trying to build a base of females, an army of females to run some really cool axanthic males to with clown, and then start to produce those in the next couple of years. So that's kind of where my head's at with at least the majority of it. People always ask, do I still have the Stormtrooper? Yes, she's here. She started eating rats again, which she's barely done her entire life. She was kind of off and on ASFs, stuff like that. So still
Oh wow!
got
So
her.
she was a problem feeder then for you.
She did great feeding for like the first 6 months, and then once she hit show season and started actually going to shows where a lot of people are, like, then it like all changed, and she has just been the most fickle animal ever. She's laid one clutch of eggs, they all went bad, and so it's really been just trial and error trying to figure out ways to get her to consistently eat and get the weight on to breed. So but she's looking good now. She's eating rats now, so I'm gonna take another stab at her this year. I mean, in all honesty, like this last year, I barely bred. I bred less than 10 pairs. And that's because I still have inventory from 23 from 2 years ago. So and that's like pretty much all I've got left. I've only got a handful of animals left from that, but I'm really looking forward to the females and males that I raised up and or took the year off intentionally last year to really marry up things for, better odds. I've got a small army of clown axanthic DG things, het one thing, double het the other, whatever, that I'm wanting to run certain males to, and same with pied combos and stuff like that.
So I know I've got one pied head axanthic female growing up. She's actually a leopard pied. Mm-hmm. Hopefully one of the axanthics will lock up with the one pastel pied I have, just to make a male to correspond with her. That way they're ready about the same time. But I've got some axanthic clown stuff going on. I actually just bought this weekend, this is kind of a spoiler for anybody that's watching, just bought a true ghost male. And like I couldn't help, like I came across them and it's just like, oh, like, it was one like you just like punch me, and yeah, like I couldn't pass it up. So I did get a true ghost male, so now I've got that to help work into some projects. So super, there again, get that hypo in with some of my axanthic het clown stuff, and go for those visuals that are double hets and kind of work that whole path.
Yeah, true ghost stuff everybody loves. Like it is an underappreciated combo. It's one of the, in my opinion, best looking adult combo axanthic animals. Like there are parts of me that think it's better looking than a DG combo is. Like there's zero yellowish or any kind of, I'll say, off-white type of color. And then there's almost hints of like blue and purple in it as an adult. It's absolutely sick. So that in, pied combos, clown combos, any of the darker stuff too, I think has, potential as well. So yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I know it stopped me in my tracks. Like I've seen true ghost stuff like this. I mean, it was from Chad there from Hawker's Herbs, and when it just stopped me in my tracks. Like, damn it, I wasn't supposed to buy anything at I try not to buy things at shows, just so that way I go home slightly profitable at least.
Yep.
And then just later on,
this was SK. True ghost stuff?
Yeah, it was SK.
Yeah, he got it from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured all roots of the good stuff probably do lead back to you, John.
It might anymore. Yeah, it's again, I look at Morphs and then I see the axanthic animals for sale, and I'm like, I remember that customer. I don't remember exactly what everybody bought, by the way, but I remember that customer. And then I see the animals they produced. I'm like, yeah, those look like ones I would have said I produced,
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it must have been from animals they got from me. So it's really exciting to see the quality that's running around out there these days. It's really, really cool.
Because I think some of the stuff that Matt from Ball Brilliance got came from you as well, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Because I've got 2 of the animals from him. One's a leopard axanthic het clown female. The other one's a vanilla leopard axanthic het clown male.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just absolutely freaking gorgeous, man. Like, absolutely gorgeous. Greg, what's up?
And it all comes around too, because Matt sold me, my first Batman clown het axanthic male.
Oh.
And
Okay.
that's what I've used to make like Fire Batman axanthics and some other combo males, het clown and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see kind of some more spot nose stuff. I think that's a super cool looking animal. So excited to see more of that.
Dude, what's your thoughts on like blackhead into axanthic? Because like I remember when I talked to you about it. Because that was that was literally like number 1 on my list of if I wanted to get a visual axanthic, that like the blackhead was kind of like that foot in the door, like
I have one. I mean, I have a blackhead axanthic visual. Yeah, female. Okay. I'm raising up. So yeah, it's neat. It's really dark. I like the pattern to it. I don't know exactly where to go with it, in all honesty, but I like it. I mean, you see, if I remember right, some of the stuff Justin did was the black axanthic with blackhead, I think.
Okay, so I'll have to look.
I vaguely remember that. I might be wrong, but yeah, I think that's another thing that could go well with hypo, and who knows what else. But yeah, I dig the pattern mutation and the darkness of it. So I've got a female I'm raising up to do some fun things with.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know, like because I bought it's a super blackhead. Well, I can get him out quick. Super blackhead. Yellow belly pastel, and just the lack or how minimal the pattern is. I mean, it's just kind of like my eyes took that directly to axanthic. It's like that's going to be a beautiful animal.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's kind of hopefully he gets his act together. I don't have him in use. Actually, I do have him going to one axanthic girl this year. So hopefully, hopefully we can get a clutch out of him. That'll be probably like one of the last clutches of the year, though. But hopefully he does the deal with that.
Nice.
I think he's going to the OD axanthic girl that I've got.
Yep, OD is for me one of the sleeper genes in axanthicism. Like everything I make that's, I'll say, multi-gened OD, I just absolutely adore. I think it's amazing. So excited to do more with that.
I've got it as simple as it is. It's just a pastel OD axanthic. Het clown though, female. But man, she my only complaint about her is like the sides are starting to get that tint, like that I call it the glow.
Yellow.
Yeah, it's getting that off-white, like that glow coming in. That's my only complaint. And it seems like I think pastel's the issue with that. It amplifies it more.
I've seen it like one animal will have it, a different animal won't. So it's really selective breeding based. Like it's all kind of about whichever animals you choose to pair. It's not, from my perspective, it's not an axanthic thing. Like it's either there or it's not there. Like you can get animals that are 0 off-white, yellowish, and you get other animals that start to look yellow, and you're like, as an adult, it doesn't really look like an axanthic. I think it definitely goes into the quality of the animals you're pairing and breeding and stuff like that. And there's just like a seemingliness, I don't want to say randomness to it, but it can definitely be part of it. So
see, that's one thing that I've got to, that I wasn't sure if Because I know some of the yellow stuff, it comes in that hue, but then as they shed, I've noticed like it actually starts becoming grays. So I didn't know if that was just part of the whole transition of it, or
Yeah, I haven't found a correlation myself, but yeah, I mean, you see that too, where you're like, oh, it kind of looks like crap, and then it's like, oh wait, now that's turning gray. It's getting like that dark phase axanthic stuff in it that they used to call it years ago, and then it's like, okay, that's actually cool.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'm with you.
Now, do you think that the dark phase stuff is the black axanthic? Do you think that's kind of the same thing, or?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know that anybody's ever proven the dark phase stuff to be genetically inheritable, not with any set of reliability. I've certainly seen it more often if I breed two dark phase animals together, and then I see it more often, but it's not like consistent in any way, shape, or form. That'd be a really interesting thing to genetically test for and try and figure out, I think, if you could even find something in it that would prove it to be genetically inheritable in a way that makes sense. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's just one thing that's been like in the back of my head, because I think the first time when I had you on, we slightly touched base on it as well, and you had said that you've hit them before, but it's not something that you can just like breed for, which makes it's just kind of like that wild card. Then it's like, all right, well then what's triggering it?
Yep.
So like that's why I wasn't sure if like maybe the black, because I did hear some people saying that they thought that the black axanthic being I don't want to say the same, but compatible with TSK, that the two of them being compatible, it didn't surprise them because of the dark phase TSK.
It didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me that they were. But what the consistency is and how a black axanthic and a dark phase and all that stuff, I just have no idea. I'm completely uneducated. Other than, some people absolutely love the dark phase stuff. Some people are like, oh, I wish it didn't turn dark. Most people, they think it's cool because it ends up like so random. And that's where I think black axanthic was more consistently in the levels of darkness, whereas the dark phase stuff tends to be a little more blotchy, I think.
Okay.
I have never worked with black axanthic, so I'm just unfamiliar. But I've worked a lot with snakekeeper, so you'd like to say, well, they're the same thing. So maybe you do know a thing or two you didn't know you knew. So
I know I'd be interested to, I don't know if it's almost like a slippery slope, and maybe I'd like give me your opinion on it.
Yeah.
As far as I don't want to say crossbreeding, but technically crossbreeding and blending the lines together. Do you think it'd be better off to keep them separated and not blur the line, or just say the hell with it? They're genetically the same. Have at it. Like, what's your thoughts? Like, keep the lines.
I probably wouldn't keep them separate. Like if I had a black axanthic that looked a lot like a snakekeeper axanthic in terms of the combination, coloration, what it looked like, I would just breed them. Okay. Now, where I would get interested is like if somebody's got some black axanthic and I've got a dark, what I thought was a dark phase, I've got pitch black axanthic breeder females, like black.
Ooh.
Like pitch black. And the whole thing, like if I'd take some black axanthic, male and breed it to it and see, okay, what do I get for results? Like, are they all dark then? Like, what does that do? Like, that's where I'd be really curious. That'd be more of an experiment thing because I can't get it to be genetically repeatable in any way, shape, or form. But maybe if a black axanthic, pure black axanthic is bred to it, maybe it tells you something. I don't know. Like half the babies are black axanthic, right? I don't know. Are really, really dark. So,
dude, I'm like envisioning this all like this jet black snake almost. Like, that just is it. Do you have a picture of one on Instagram or anything, or?
It's probably on my Instagram.
I was gonna say because if it is, I just think it'd be neat for anybody that hasn't ever seen it. So I know like you've posted up some crazy stuff in the past. Baby wise, I just never saw, not that I recall anyway, seeing like anything pitch black.
Yeah, it would have been an adult picture from a long time ago. Ooh, I'm scrolling back through Instagram while we're chatting, and then I'm seeing a picture of shirtless Troy Schroeder that I posted. So there's some emotionally scarring, children scarring visual images on Instagram. Buyer beware.
Ashley, Nikita, Pip Stalkers, what's going on? Another channel member. Ashley says they're keeping their black axanthic pure. I didn't spend triple the price to blend them. What people buy them do is up to them. That's very good point. Very good point.
Well, yeah, and I think that to your point, that's the true part of it is you can choose to keep them completely independent. But I wouldn't do it to just do it. I would do it strategically. Like I said, like, hey, they look genetically visually very much alike, so there's a good alignment there.
Yeah, I know. Like the one I found out that it was the same. Yeah, I felt kind of bad for the people that bought into the black axanthic because there was that pay to enter fee basically with that. You had the higher cost. But from a breeder standpoint, I was like, those people should actually be really happy because now they're not starting basically from ground zero. Now they've got options that they can inject in and kind of get the ball rolling a little bit faster.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a group picture I can send that's on my Instagram. Whatever the best way to send that.
If you just want to, you can just send it to me through IG, just in our chat.
Oh, sure, I'll do that. Thanks.
So I'll just hold the phone up to the camera because it should be able to adjust, I would think, hopefully. If it doesn't, I'll just share my screen then.
There. It's like a group picture of breeders that were on eggs, and one of those is like black.
Oh, yeah, I see.
That's the animal I'm talking about.
All right, let me do this.
Ooh. Yeah, you can throw the link in chat.
Yeah, let me do this. Let me share my screen here quick. We'll do it that way. That did not go over as all right, let me do this. And this. There we go. Is that coming through a little bit better?
Looks good. Yeah, that middle right photo is the one. Yeah, that's what I would call it, a just dark phase single gene axanthic.
That's dark, dude. That is freaking dark. I'm loving everything else around it, but holy crap.
Yeah, it's very unique. I still have that animal, of course.
Oh, wow. And how, I mean, that was taken back in, is there a date? I don't even know if I can see it. Maybe 2018?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So she's probably even darker now then.
No, they kind of stabilize. They don't really, like, once they reach adulthood, they kind of, like, people are like, oh, is the Stormtrooper, like, completely black now? It's like, no. There's no difference between the most recent picture I took and today. Like, it just levels out, and then it is what it is.
Okay. Oh, Jessica says she's not happy about them being the same, I'm thinking. Come on, Jessica. Think about it from the positivity angle. You got more avenues now, easily accessible.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah, you could find TSK in something and be like, oh, I always wanted to make that a black axanthic. So yeah, to that end, do you really start over? Like if there's a project you wanted to get into, are you gonna add 6 years to your project or go buy a TSK version if it existed? So that'll be tough. That'll be tough for people.
No, see, and that's kind of like I was kind of happy for the people that did pay it. Yeah, it's like you paid the higher price, but now you can, you could save years, just save years off the freaking projects.
Yeah. And honestly, I haven't looked at black axanthic stuff to even start to see things that I was like, oh, I never even thought of that, or that'd be cool, or it hasn't it just hasn't tripped a trigger yet for me that I found something that I'm looking for. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm sure there's people working on black axanthic projects that I'm like, oh wow, that would be great to pull into the TSK group I have.
Yeah. No, I'm always on that lookout for just the ideas, but as much as I like going for the very high white stuff, I'm finding myself wanting to go like the much darker route with everything, like the super blackhead stuff, kind of like really go in for those deep blacks with what the TSK brings into the table.
I mean, I'll give you one that I thought of, but I never put the time and effort into, is the darker the animal and you mix it with like coral glow or banana, which I know isn't the most popular thing, but long story short is purple stays with axanthicism. So if you have a really dark animal and you add coral glow banana and then you add axanthic, it's going to be purple still. Everything else is going to go away, but the purple will still be there, or the white will still be there, obviously. So
that would be interesting looking.
Yeah, super cinnamon coral glow axanthic is a purple snake in my mind.
Ooh,
I'd love to see somebody make it.
I was gonna say that's you're giving me ideas here, John.
I'm just saying, if you're going dark, yeah, go with things that make purple. I'll give you the other one that's the secret sauce, and I mean it's in my head constantly, is greens turn blue. So like people don't think of that, but if you have, if someday there's a morph that is like super, super green, like your logo green, that in axanthicism will be blue. Baby blue. So like you take like Enchi bumblebee combos or what have you, and I've made them. They have very green eyes, like bright green eyes, and now you add axanthic to it, they're blue now. So that's how I know that. So it's, again, the day somebody hatches some new morph that's high amount of green, I'm going to be buying, because it'll mix with axanthic. It will be a blue snake.
See, I never would have. I'm not gonna lie. I never would have thought of using it to make actual different, like a different color palette. You just blew my mind, dude. I'm not.
Yeah, this is the stuff I walk. Yeah, this is the stuff I walk around shows and I look at animals and I look at the colors, and I love what everybody else makes, but I'm putting on my axanthic colored glasses and I'm looking at things from the 20 some years I've been doing this to know, well, that's going to do this and this is going to do that and this is going to do that. Like, what is that animal going to look like? It's not just turning grayscale up. Like it changes colors.
You see, so. I'm not gonna lie. I never, because like you said, like everybody in my group makes fun of me because they're all out making these beautiful colored animals, and I suck the life out of it basically by wanting to suck the color out of every bit of it. But I never looked at it as what it's actually doing. The fact that it's removing that yellow, and when you remove that yellow from certain colors, what the color then becomes. I never thought of that.
Yep.
Mind blown, folks. Mind freaking blown. Jason said, just do a coral glow dark matter. That would be neat.
Yep.
So there you'd end up with the purples. And I think you've got Ashley and Nikita there from Pip Stalkers thinking now.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff up here just rattling around. It's all just time and money, right?
Well, see, again, I think a lot of people, when they think axanthic, they just think black and white. They don't think,
nope,
that you can do other things with it. Like I know I've seen people do axanthic bananas, but I've never seen them. Like the visuals that I've seen weren't thrown in with super dark combos, and me being partially colorblind, I wasn't really seeing what maybe other people were possibly seeing because there wasn't enough definition between the colors.
Sure.
But doing the super dark stuff, my eyes should be able to pick that up. 319 asks, so would axanthic make sunset red? That would not do that because it takes out the yellow and red pigments.
Yep. That's right.
Now I have had this crazy thought with Axanthic and Sunset, just for the fact that I think Sunset brings a neat pattern into the mix. So I've noticed, for me anyway, the Sunset stuff has some really kooky pattern stuff going on with it. So that would be the only thing that I would see Axanthic being able to do with Sunset, as far as just using it as a pattern mutation type of deal, and a very expensive pattern mutation.
Yeah, and in all honesty, you got to get those browns out of there. Like it's not going to help something that's brown. You've got, and I just haven't followed Sunset close enough. I knew the base animal was just, for my Axanthic brain, too brown, and Axanthicism does not work well with browns. So
it's hard enough to make the Axanthics stay black and white into adulthood, let alone something that's prone to looking brown as an adult. I get that, man. I get that. Let me go through here, John, and I'm going to run maybe 2 channel sponsors quick, since we're an hour into this, and we'll keep going. Folks, do feel free to write any questions down if you have any questions for John and or topic as well. So as you've seen, like, he's dropping knowledge left and right, and definitely blew my mind for the freaking night. Like, I'm going to be thinking about this now for weeks.
About how do I make
purple and blue freaking snakes now?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's all there. All right. Yeah, I'll let you.
All right, so here we go. Let's run some channel sponsors. All right, sounds good, dude.
Head on over to Triforce Morphs if you're looking for that missing piece in your ball python breeding project. While you're there, add a little bit of laser citron to the mix, folks. John and Christine can also hook you up with the crested gecko, so don't forget that. Turn up the heat with Triforce Morphs. If you want to use the best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market today, scan the QR code or click our partnership link in the description down below for a free 30-day trial of Husbandry Pro. I promise you will not regret it. Stop wasting time trying to prove out animals or taking chances on possible hets or genes you don't know that are there. Head on over to Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles and ShedTesting.com for all of your shed testing needs. He's fast, accurate, and adding new tests on a regular basis. So head on over to ShedTesting.com and check him out. Make sure to use the code CARPET15 for 15% off of your shed test order. Use nothing but the best at ShedTesting.com. Are you ready to take it to the next level? Then check out DTMG Pythons. Danny is best known for his awesome clown ball python projects. This year's focus is Confusion, Hurricane, and Disco Inferno clowns. He also specializes in high-end crested gecko morphs such as Axanthic, Lily White, and Axanthic Lily Whites, along with the Deadpool line of gargoyle geckos. Check out his morph market and Instagram, DTMG Pythons. Just buy it. Lucas Landon Royals produces some truly high-caliber snakes. Kai has been breeding ball pythons for 6 seasons and counting. He's working toward multi-recessive combos such as DG Clown, Hypo Clown Pied, Sunset Candy Pied, and DG Axanthic Pied. He's working with several other species of snakes, but next year he's going to start breeding Boa Imperators, and he also has a small group of super dwarf retics. So be on the lookout for some super dwarf cow retics. Become a royal at Lucas Landon Royals.
And funny thing is, folks, with the ShedTesting.com stuff, Charlie is just like TSK test is just about done. I think he's waiting on primers for it. So those of us that work TSK and Black Axanthic will be able to get a little bit riskier with our pairings and test through Charlie there over at ShedTesting.com for TSK. Sean Boney here asks, what about het red Axanthic? So, Sean, are you asking TSK Axanthic or Axanthic period into het red? Because like I'm not familiar. I don't work with het red. I'm not gonna lie. So isn't het red just another form of Axanthicism?
Kind of, yeah. It's a different kind of Axanthicism. A lot of people are familiar with the babies who look very much like traditional Axanthics. They're a very black-backed animal as well, so it's a bit of a pattern mutation. But then they age, they become more reddish, brownish kind of coloration. Okay. So they're a completely separate morph. I've never done any mixing of het red into Axanthic, but from a pattern mutation standpoint, I mean, I think it does some really cool stuff. So wouldn't be something
All right, so maybe
I would be opposed to.
So it might be something. Sean, give it a shot, man. Who knows? Maybe you're onto something. Julia, glad to hear that your clown girl's eating like crazy, and who knows, maybe hopefully she'll be ready for you to rock and roll and breed her here in the near future. Good to hear. Always enjoy getting updates. So what are you excited about for 2025 for breeding season? Like, what are your most anticipated things you want to see pop out of one of the clutches?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's going to be two things come to mind, right? So I've produced three axanthic DG animals. So I'd like to maybe have a chance. I do have chances at axanthic GG clowns, so I'd like to see that. I also have a chance at axanthic DG, a smaller chance at axanthic DG pieds. So I'd like to see that. And I know other people have made them. I'd just like to make my own. So some DG combo stuff I think is on my hit list. The other thing I've been hunting from a unicorn perspective in terms of combinations has been I've got a breeder male. I got to think about what all's in it. GHI Enchi Firefly Clown head axanthic male. And I've also got some other odds and ends GHI clown things. Well, it is somewhere on my Instagram, but if you mix all those genes together, the Firefly Enchi GHI clown, it's striped. It's bright yellow and striped like a tiger. The Enchi and the GHI totally fight each other in terms of pattern, and it causes these horizontal stripes. I really want to make what I would call like a kind of a snow leopard or snow tiger kind of pattern. I want to make that in axanthic. I think it would be absolutely phenomenal. So I've got the male for it. I just need the genes. I've got a couple different options in terms of stacking up the genes to do that. But I think that would be a very sweet combo for me to see. That'd be a goal.
Dude, that would be awesome. I know this year I hit. It's a Bruce Wayne, but it's a female too. It's a Bruce Wayne, but it's double het axanthic clown, and she literally is striped, 3 stripes the whole way down her back from head to toe, or head to tail. So when I hit that, obviously I want to make the axanthic Batman, but I hit that, I'm just like that alone, without even hitting the visual clown part. If that was an axanthic, that would just be a phenomenal looking animal by itself if you could reproduce it. Now, the likelihood of having it hit just like it did on that, probably slim to none.
Right.
But man, one can dream, though. One can dream on that. Jamie here from Rising Phoenix says he would buy one.
Yeah.
Block says that would look amazing.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw what Grim Reaper said here. They say that I need a True Ghost female from you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got like one breeder ghost female, and I've done so many things outside of just making hypos, hypoxanthics. Like I just haven't made solid True Ghost stuff. I've been blending it with other things. So I've got a very small chance at triples with clown and triples with pied. So that's another thing I'd like to see. I think, again, like I said earlier, I think a True Ghost pied is going to be the best looking axanthic-ish pied combo there is, just because of that darkness that pied kind of naturally does to the pattern portions. And offsetting that, those blues and purples, you tend to get those animals as adults will look fantastic.
Now, here's one thing I want to talk to you about as well. The superior line of axanthic. I know you probably get tired of people hashing it out with you or asking you, what's the superior line? Because I know we've said it before on the last time you were on, that there's only good and bad examples of it. But I had done a video recently, and a friend of mine had also done a video recently about why maybe like VPI would be the superior line, just as far as like marketability. There's more people working with it, the industry standard. I just hate that part. But anyway, What's your thoughts on that? Like, what to you are the benefits of not working the VPI and doing the TSK stuff?
I mean, from my perspective, a lot of the animals look very, very similar. I think it's about the quality. And one thing that kept me moving forward in TSK always was I had the ability to control the quality of what I was bringing in and what I was using for animals. So you, I think, can find examples of comboed animals that are the best mixture of the representative genes in it with TSK more readily than you can find that same thing in VPI, because in my opinion it's been watered down. So like if you're going to go buy a straight axanthic female and buy the best looking one out there, yeah, you've got tons of options as a buyer relative to finding that with tons of breeders with VPI, more so than TSK. Absolutely true. But now do the same thing about a 2, 3, 4, 5 gene combo animal that's now consisting of the best of all those genes represented in it. Versus I believe that for a while people were taking VPI and being like, it's the best, and then throwing a bad looking pastel at it and a bad looking fire and a bad looking this and a bad looking that, and expected it to still come out great because it was VPI. And that's not what selective breeding is. It's taking the best of everything you put in that comboed animal to make the best combination. And that's where I think in certain genetic mutation combinations, TSK has outpaced VPI. So in others, not true, right? It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So
Yeah.
and there's good bad examples of both lines. There's readily available genetic mutations in certain lines, etc. At the end of the day, everybody should just do what they want to work, the projects they want to work. That's where they should focus their time and energy on. And if the best looking animals are VPI, go with VPI. If the best looking animals are SK or black axanthic, go with that. That's what you should do. Picking a particular line, in my opinion, is not really it's just there's such a huge market space out there. You're not limiting yourself really, in my opinion. Like if it's a great looking animal, people are going to buy it. Yeah. And if you're making, it's like, well, I'm making $20,000 animals, like, and nobody wants to buy them. Well, that's always going to be the case. So your market is, $500 to $1,000 animals. The more of those animals you make, the, and that are aligned with wherever the market is at the current time, like that's where you want to be, because the best looking versions of $500 to $1,000 animals is what the majority of the consumers are going to buy, because people will pay $1,000 for a dog. They're damn sure going to pay $1,000 for a snake that lasts, twice as long at least.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Right. Like that's always been the one thought in my head is people say, oh, nobody will buy, that the pet end is only like 500 and below. It's like, you got like, people spend expensive money on pets if they find that one that fits that bill. Like they'll do it.
Yeah, $1 to $2 grand still accessible by a large. Once you start getting above $2, your market narrows. But again, there's also everybody under the sun, is under $200-$300. And to be honest, it's a trade space of what's your time worth. That's where people that are newer to the hobby, new to the industry, like they are primed and ready to work with customers that are in that $100 to $300 range, or say sub $500 range, because they can cater to all their needs, and that they have an advantage there, because they're not looking at a huge customer base yet and still working their business to grow it and have it become something bigger.
Now, what would you say is kind of, how do I want to put it? Where do you separate investment animals as far as the, like, for TSK and more of the pet, and like where do you find more breeders purchasing monetary at, and what do you see kind of sits around a little bit longer monetary wise, price wise?
Yeah, so what I would say is I'll say the $500 to $1,000 range is the sweet spot.
Okay.
Like that's where the customer's worth your time and energy, and they're also probably going to buy additional animals. And they're invested enough that they're going to actually care to determine like a breeding plan, maybe come up with a business, stuff like that. But there's also people in that range that are just buying a pet. They're like $1,000, I buy a dog. $1,000, I buy a really cool snake that I love. They'll do that, and that's kind of the sweet spot. I think you could realistically, assuming that's an appropriate market value, sell $500 to $1,000 snakes all day long, because that's where even new people to the industry will be an insertion point. Now, that being said, huge competitive industry right now in ball python production at that price point. Like, if I'm a brand new consumer, I got $500 at a show. The world is my oyster, right? There's so many different animals I can buy for that $500, and that goes back to marketing, branding. How good looking is your animal versus somebody else's that's the same exact genetic mutation, right? It's one of the reasons, like, I rarely bring non-axanthic animals to a show anymore, because I want that effect of they walk by my booth and they almost break their neck looking back and being like, there's no color here, and I'm like, nothing has color. So then it just stands out in a sea of colorful animals and table displays. It's like there's the one where my eyes shut off the color, and it's like I'm looking at old school black and white TV. So,
and truth be told, I mean, like, anytime you see someone, like, when people are doing like the show, the show videos and stuff, when they pan across your display, I mean, it definitely, like, there's no doubt about it. It definitely you stop. It's like, wait a minute here. What happened there?
Yep.
You do definitely have that standout display of everything. Now, with that being said, though, do you find that it hurts you sometimes at shows not having like that variety and only just having black and white stuff?
I don't think so, but I look at shows differently, right? So I don't want to say differently than anybody, but differently than maybe people might think of it. So for me, how I view shows isn't necessarily to sell animals. It's marketing. So selling animals is secondary. So I quit going to shows really to focus on selling animals a number of years ago, 10 years ago. It's really about how many people are going to come through, take pictures, post stuff on Instagram, post stuff on Facebook, do videos, get interviews, talk about the animals, post about them, hold them, take pictures, like all that type of stuff. Selling animals is secondary, but which is very, very, very close second. But first is, getting that marketability. I'll do even my best show ever. I do more sales the 30 days after a show than I do at the show.
Okay.
It's like clockwork.
See, that's it. It's funny that you say it like that, because I just had a show yesterday, and today I had a customer reach out to me that was at the show yesterday, but they reached out to me today wanting to purchase 2 animals that were at the show. So I get exactly what you mean. It's like that post-show buying spree that happens because people saw stuff, they saw it in the video or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know, like, that was just one thing I've always wondered, if taking because my one vision is just to kind of have, on top of my bright ass green stuff, that have all the animals be black and white. And then I kind of got to think, it's like, well, if I do that, am I limiting myself? Like, am I going to have, like, I'll have the wow factor, but am I going to be kind of hurting myself in the end because maybe somebody doesn't want something that's just black and white and that's all I've got to offer? So I wasn't sure, that's kind of thinking ahead, kind of keeping my wheels turning a little bit there as to what your thoughts were on that one. So,
yeah, I think that there's a lot of good options out there in terms of what people want to work with. I mean, there's so much out there right now. I mean, that's the exciting part of it. Projects that people are excited about, like, it's definitely worth the time and effort to try and figure them out, especially if you're passionate about the animals and passionate about your idea.
Sean here says, what's your opinion on Jolliffe tiger axanthics?
I mean, yeah, the reality is there's just not a whole lot of Jolliffe left in the industry. Like, that is an axanthic version that's been around for decades. It's not compatible with anything else. And for whatever reason, it's kind of been labeled the Jolliffe hasn't been the most attractive looking, axanthic variant in terms of color and how it ages, etc. The tiger-ish, stuff, and it's been a long time since I studied that, was very interesting in terms of applying a different pattern mutation to it. I think that's pretty cool. If you could isolate that as a codom or somebody did, I don't know, that would be really, really interesting. Pattern mutations with axanthicism are definitely where it's at. So yeah, Jolliff's it's just hard to find anymore, like to find anybody working with it.
So I know my channel sponsor and good friend Nathan there, Infinite Possible Pythons. I know he did have some, and it was the Jolliff Tiger stuff. But I think he did have it to where he had the tiger isolated. I think. I mean, it might have still had the Jolliff, the axanthic there tied to it. But don't quote me on that. But I thought he had some of it isolated as well. Nathan, maybe if you're in the chat here, dude, still, or if you're still listening, drop it in there for us. Nikki, Kurt, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Mission Morph says, JD still working that Fire TSK Het Clown adult male we got from you a couple of years ago that you brought to Arlington for us. Appreciate it, sir.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, if I remember right, that was a good looking animal too.
I always think it's neat to see, like, all I hear a lot of people working VPI, people talking about VPI. It's neat to see sometimes how many TSK people are out there, because they really start coming out of the woodwork sometimes. It's really, there's more local people doing TSK than what I realized.
Yeah. Yeah, what was super interesting to me is, and this goes back to 2020. So 2020, the Arlington show was the only show going on during COVID, basically. All the other ones got shut down. So,
okay.
Troy Schroeder enticed me to go down to Arlington with him, and it ended up being on par for me from a sales perspective, both at the show and after, to a Tinley. And then for the next handful of years after, there was a huge amount of, people buying animals, interest, etc., sales from me starting in that area and starting to consistently go, that I was just blown away by. And a lot of it was my own naivety around, I grew up in the snake industry with Dave and Tracy Barker of VPI, who are from Texas. I'm like, why would I go to Texas to try and peddle my snake keeper wares in the home state of VPI? That makes no sense. But then so much time has passed that VPI is its own entity, right? And it doesn't matter where original people don't know that factoid. Who's Dave and Tracy Barker? Well, they're the originators of VPI. So that it just doesn't matter anymore. And so then coming down there and bringing good looking, axanthic animals on a table full of them, people were blown away by it. And then, it introduced a whole slew of animals. And then what was fun this past year is going to those shows, seeing some of the other vendors or people that bought animals and became vendors. And then they've got offspring from my animals they bought during COVID. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You got people with, because I'll look at them and be like, hey, that's a really good, looking snake keeper axanthic combo. And I look up at the name like, oh yeah, they bought stuff from
me. See, that's cool though. I hope that some of the axanthic stuff that does leave here, not a lot of it leaves here. I'm not gonna lie, I've been really bad with holding on to all my axanthic stuff. Some of it leaks out here and there, but a lot of it does stay. I'm anxious to see some people do some work with it, and some of the projects I've got in the works for even this year. Man, I'm freaking super excited for what the future holds here, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be sparking off. Some new dreams, some literal world's first stuff.
That's awesome.
Popping out. Blue Zombie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Anybody, if you guys have questions for John, feel free to post them in the chat. I mean, I can't think of everything. I know
he's only one man. Somebody's got to help your brother out.
Yeah, I mean, I can only have so many questions for John here, and I mean, we need to make use of the knowledge that we have. My head's still spinning on the blue snakes and green snakes. I'm not gonna lie, dude. That just completely blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. What's your show schedule? How many shows do you do now, and where are the people going to be seeing you at here?
Yeah, so great question. one thing, again, because of my new life schedule, is I just can't go to shows like I used to. So I've been traveling down to basically the Dallas/Arlington show for the past 4 years, twice a year. And obviously to Tinley, that's my closest big show. It's only about 3.5 hours from home. And it's just been a lot harder to get away, basically, with, obviously I'm not at a point where I bring in the kids to shows and stuff like that. So I think where I'm focused right now is Tinley's kind of the biggest close show. That's where I'm going to spend the most of my time going. I'd like to augment that with trips to California to go to one of the super shows. I love that show. I've been a couple times in Vended. I really enjoy the area, so I really want to try and go there, every 2-3 years. Troy and Lisa Schroeder, fellow Iowans, they travel to so many different shows now. They have their own shows. I'm trying to at least make a personal appearance, although not vending, at a lot of their shows, because I want to show support to their shows, and I absolutely love how they put them together. And in all honesty, that's something I really enjoy, is still going and talking to people and, having a night out with fellow reptile folks and just brainstorming breeding ideas or how the season's going or marketing ideas and those types of things. So still enjoy doing that, but without the stress of having to vend for basically 3 solid days and haul all the animals and figure out how you get them there and setting it up and all those things. It's a lot.
See, let me touch here with missions.
Yeah.
Here, since you specialize in the axanthics, how many total breeders do you actually have?
Yeah, so like I said, I expanded, basically doubled my square footage in 2021, 2022, and added a number of different racks, et cetera, to the point of I had roughly about 120 breeder females.
Oh,
wow. Not all of them at, full size, breeder size, but pretty close. And we had roughly, I want to say, in the 60s to 70s of clutches, which is my biggest year ever 2 years ago.
That's a lot of clutches, dude.
It's so many.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, it was stressful because I work a full-time day job that's 40 to 50 hours a week. On top of this, I have a couple other, I'll say side hustle things that I have to spend time on. And then especially now, it's all about, every other week, it's all about the kids. Like, I have to do all the kids stuff myself, which I love, but that's time I don't have free to do snake stuff. So I have to give up something, right? And the kids aren't something I'm willing to give up.
No, don't blame, dude. No way in hell.
So,
no way in hell.
Where I'm wanting to get to now is I'm wanting to get to roughly, I'll say I want to redo all my racks. I want to refresh my rooms and just kind of make it just uber high-end professional setup, racks, everything, kind of upgrade everything to Freedom Breeder ARS from the animal plastics, expanded PVC type solutions I've had for a number of years, and just get all that upgraded, and then at the same time downsize everything to, I'll say a major rack for kind of each developmental stage, enough racks for babies, and then just call it good. So bordering on, I would guess, 40 to 60 breeder females is kind of where I'm targeting. So I think I'll be breeding around 40 or 50 girls here this year.
That's still, I mean, you figure 75% of those go. That's still a decent season. Like that's still a lot of babies to move.
Yeah, and what people don't account for is what happens when they stack up all at once. Like your hatching and laying season is like compressed for whatever reason. Like I went a number of years with never running into an issue with 40-ish clutches, high 30s, whatever, and then ended up having them all bottlenecked up in one time period, and I overflowed my incubator. I had things I was pulling out of the incubator right after they hatched, as opposed to I usually let them shed out in the incubator and I put them in a tub, and then I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna need another rack just for babies just because of the timing. Like I was fine years before, but this year they're all stacked up. So
see that something similar. Was it the incubator issue? Because I mean, I've got like an old Coke fridge I turned into an incubator. My thing was the rack space for the babies because I was putting them into my 1065 rack. Well, I had 2 carpet python clutches. Then I thought, all right, well, at the rate carpets were selling for me, so by the time I'm moving those babies out, the balls are going to be hatching, And needless to say, the closer that time got, and I was seeing when hatch dates actually were going to be lining up, it's like I'm in a bad spot. Like I went. Thank goodness, no wait time at ARS. I ordered a mini 130, got it here Brano, and just put all the baby balls right into the 130, and that was just the lifesaver. Like best investment ever. One mini 130, man.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. That's somewhere where I was at. It got to and that was back when rack orders were like hugely, latent in terms of how long it took you to get them. And I remember it was like, oh yeah, we'll totally have your rack in, the next 4 weeks, or it was like whatever timeline, I don't even remember. And then I was like, I need those racks. Like the date keeps moving out. I need it not to move out. Like I need you to just tell me when they're going to be here so I can figure it out. And when I get there, and finally they did. So I was happy to see that.
319 says, or wants to know, do you have any plans to use lace? That's a good question, 319.
I do. So I love highlighter genes generically. What I call a highlighter gene is like things that brighten as the animal ages as opposed to darken. The majority of ball python morphs darken as the animal ages. It's just the nature of it. But there is a small subset that actually get brighter. Those are at the forefront of things I want to mix into axanthicism.
Now, do you think that the lace? This is actually, I'm glad I'm glad you brought this up because this is a whole different topic in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Lace over DG, which one do you think is the better route to go? Because I look at it like the white lace, I thought looked better as an adult over the DG. Plus, then you've got the fact that the single gene form actually does something by itself anyway.
Yep.
So what's your thought? Like, are you kind of on that same place where maybe lace is a good substitute or outdoes DG by chance, or what are your thoughts?
I think it's definitely worth mixing into it. I mean, I think we'll have to see what the animals look like. It's a bit of a pattern mutation as well, right? So you'll have to see kind of what it does and what combos it gets put in. But holistically, absolutely. Like I picked up, 2 different lace combo females to mix in with axanthic, so it was already on my hit list. I think there's a future there.
Nice, dude. I'm anxious to see what you do with that because I've got it's a lace gene packed freaking male that he's not going into the axanthic stuff till next season, sadly. So all my axanthic girls are used up for stuff this season. But lace is on that list for me as well to get in there. T, what's up, dude? Good to see you. T and Keisha, thanks for tuning in. Let's see here. That catches us up. Great chat. All right. Let me see here. That kind of covers me for what I had for topics, man. Like, we cruised through that stuff quick. Does I thought there would be some people in the chat here that would have some questions and stuff. Does anybody in the chat have some questions for this man? I feel bad. We kind of cruised through all that real quick, John. I apologize.
I will be more verbose next time.
No.
I think some of it is, I've been on a few different podcasts and talked about a lot of stuff, right? So it's just been, what's happening new, where are things going, stuff like that, which it's still early, right? It's exciting to jump into yet another season. I think the market's kind of rebounding from a time period where it's been a little slower. There's more and more people in the industry than there ever has before in terms of, buying pets and getting into it and getting started.
319 wants to know, what's your favorite non-axanthic combo?
Ooh. I would say anything that I end up thinking is one of my favorite combos, I always want to bring into axanthic. So it's hard to narrow it on something. I will tell you that there's been a number of times in recent years, and I couldn't even tell you what some of the animals were, where I saw an animal and I was like, okay, it was a reasonable price, and it was like a 4 or 5 gene codom thing that I just thought was super cool. And I'm like, I kind of want to just buy that and then go find some other super cool 4 or 5 gene codom thing in the opposite gender and be like, let's just throw it in a blender and see what happens. Like, let's breed these two crazy looking things that I think look cool, that it really makes no rhyme or reason to put them together. But you take two very different 5 gene animals and breed them together. There's so many combinations. It would really just be fun to breed them every year and be like, hey, that's my wild card clutch, just to see what pops out of them. Because you wouldn't necessarily hatch the same things every time. You'd be like, I don't even know what that thing is. It could be, any mixture of 10 different genes.
That's true.
I think that would just be, if I my kids get older maybe, and they get hopefully a little bit of passion for the breeding and the animals, maybe that'll be something we'll do as a family, is just get 2 off the wall things. So I know that's kind of a non-answer to the question, but like I would tell you that anything that's orange probably is where my head goes next. So Oz makes a lot of OD stuff, a lot of cool stuff that you're like, what all's in that thing? So things that are like crazy orange coloration, I think are pretty cool. So if you said, hey, what's your non-axanthic combos that you actually really like, it's going to be things that are orange. I just think that looks so unique in the ball python industry, and looks really, really cool.
I say I'd have to go with the bang stuff, man. Bang into axanthic, I think that's gonna be the draw dropper there. I think that's gonna be a huge thing. Sean wants to know, what about super pastel het candy? Would that mix well with a TSK or het red or double het clown pod?
I would say, so let's see, candy.
That would be snow. That would be a snow form.
Right. I'm not a big fan of snows personally.
Okay.
Because all they end up doing is subduing the, albino variant and makes it a lighter albino as an adult. So I'm not a huge fan of mixing that in.
Okay.
But that being said, again, go with like lavender albino, cinnamon, super cine, then mixed with axanthic, you might have a purple snake, right? So stuff like that I think could have value.
Let's see here. All right, this is a good one. Mission says, how many ups and downs have you seen, and what do you see now with the market?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing this now 21 years since I got into the ball python industry, and it's always a roller coaster ride. I would say the biggest uptick I've ever seen has really been during COVID, because everybody bought pets. How many people went out and bought dogs and cats? And I'm at home, so I want a cat. I'm at home, I want a dog, right? And it's not unique to our industry that if you go to animal shelters and check them out, they are overflowing with animals. They are getting purebred dogs and cats, purebred, designer dogs and cats that go into the animal shelter because there's breeders that overproduced based on COVID sales, and then projecting that forward, they bred just as many, but now can't get rid of them because people are turning them over to the animal shelters. So it's definitely kind of a challenging time in the pet world a little bit because of that huge influx during COVID of sales, and now kind of the recovery period since. But I think it's just kind of the normal ups and downs. I've seen a lot of that over the past 20 years. I want to say 3 or 4 different kind of major swings. It's always going to be the case that you're never going to buy a $10,000, I'm making something up, right? $10,000 snake, breed it, produce $10,000 babies, and just make money hand over fist. That's never it. It's the market is going to drop on those animals. How quickly it drops is really market dependent. The money's in the time. It's like the stock market, right? You can buy low, sell high, or you can buy and it just does nothing, or you can buy and it drops, but then it'll come back up again. You have to be in it for the long haul. You aren't going to be a stockbroker overnight and buy stocks one year, breed animals, and then sell them the next year for a buttload of money. I mean, that does happen, but that's the exception as opposed to the rule. The real answer is put your time and energy into it, make it a 5 to 10 year thing, and then you'll do great.
And the other thing I look at that aspect too is if you're saving time, you're normally spending more money. And if you're saving money, you're spending more time normally.
Correct.
There's that trade-off, I always feel.
Yep. Yeah, you're buying time at the end of the day. You're buying your own time, and you got to decide what that's worth.
Kai here from Lucas Landon's got a good one for you. Where does genes like Monsoon, Bambino, Tornado, Cosmos fit into your plans?
This is how old man I am. I don't know what some of those are. so I will tell you that I have relationship plans for Cosmos and Axanthics. So that's on my radar. I've got some peers that are doing some things that I think will help that along. And then I am working Monsoon Axanthic combo animals. I think that'll be absolutely sick. I don't know what Bambino and Tornado are actually, but now I gotta go look. I'm so uneducated.
I've seen some Tornado stuff. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know what Bambino looks like. Tornado does look cool, though. I will say that it does look cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that about the Axanthic about taking Axanthic into the Monsoon, though, because I think I've seen enough Monsoon stuff that I feel as though the only thing you can do with Monsoon at this point is color. Like the Monsoon Clown, the Monsoon just totally overpowers it. So it still looks Monsoon. Like you can see the hint of Clown, but I feel as though the Monsoon just totally takes over still. Even in the Pied, like I wasn't impressed with it in Pied really. I think literally Monsoon's just one of those genes where you got to play with color. I think that's the only playing field with it. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I think Monsoon DG Axanthic is going to look absolutely sick. And I've got Monsoon triple het things running around. I'm still a ways away from making the visuals, but I've got triple things that I hope to see with Monsoon in it that I think will be extra cool.
See, because even with some of the other genes that have been thrown into it, like nothing changes it. Like I've not been able to see something that just like has really altered the pattern. And I guess if you something that's crazy pattern like the Monsoon, if you alter what do you really do? Like, are you trying to take away the pattern then at that point? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's it's a difficult morph in all honesty to kind of figure out what to do with it other than just the color.
Right. Yeah, and that's where Axanthicism I feel like makes things easier, right? Because it's got a much narrower color palette. Like you're going to get gray / silver / black and white, kind of sort of. So what are you going to do with that? Like you're basically applying a color palette to whatever pattern mutations you think look cool. And this is something I brought up multiple times, but I'll share it here, right? I have something I call the grandma test. And the grandma test is, can you take one genetic combination and a different but similar looking genetic mutation and show it to grandma and say, do you understand why this one is $5,000 and this one is $500? And if she's like, no, then you shouldn't be doing that. Like it doesn't really matter, to my point. Like it's again in that $500 to $1,000 range. Those type of customers are going to be like, yeah, that's a cool $5,000 snake. Thanks, I'll buy one when they're $800. And if you have one sitting next to it that looks mostly the same for $500, they're just going to buy that one.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. That's true.
It's all about timing. Like position yourself so that when the $500 snake is $100, and people have forgotten about it, you're making the $5,000 snake that now is $800. Because the market's going to pull down. So it's all about having that next thing coming in that you're producing that's in the window of opportunity relative to your customer base.
Now, kind of touching with that, how do you what's your percentage of upgrading like bringing new animals in every year to keep things fresh? Like how many animals do you bring in on average? Just to kind of keep genetics fresh, kind of not have things go stale. Because I feel as though that's something with focusing on like for you, like based on TSK, it's a little bit more challenging.
It is and it isn't. The problem is you have even with a small set of genes, like a dozen, let's just say a dozen genes from 15 years ago, how many different combinations of those genes can you make? Like so many. So
True.
that's what's funny to me is I'll still produce combos that were cool, 10 years ago when people first made them, and now I'm making them again in Axanthic, and then people have almost forgot about them. And then they're like, what the hell's that? That looks awesome. And it's like, well, that's a combo from 10 years ago with Enchi and Fire and, Leopard and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's nothing that new. It's just you guys have forgotten about it because they first made it 10 years ago. And now I'm bringing it back because I made it black and white and gray. And so I think that's a major part of it, too, is like you don't need a lot of genes to put a lot of different variability in the combinations of things. So that being said, like, again, in 2020, 2021, when the market exploded, I was like, I haven't bought new genes in forever. Occasionally I buy like, oh, somebody has a SK thing that I want, but I was not really investing in animals that were not already Axanthic. So I did buy a herd of things that I was like very intentionally, I'm going to get all these things because I want to start mixing them in. And then my hope was, and I did buy them as females, I was just thinking about the future, like the resale value is, it's going to take me longer to get there. But then I've got these, proven breeder, monsoon females, proven breeder, lace clown females, whatever, right? What have you. I've got these things that then if I go and sell them, people will be like, why are you selling that? It's like, well, I'm selling it because I only really used it to make Axanthic hat versions of it. And it also gives me more time to put, Axanthic, for instance, with the lace, right? A lace clown female, it's giving me more time to make a more exotic Axanthic clown animal to then breed to it. So then I'm making, clown blah, blah, blahs that are het for Axanthic. One of my goals has always been to make a world's first non-Axanthic. Like nobody's ever made it not Axanthic. I want to make it in Axanthic world's first, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So something nobody's ever seen before, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to make it Axanthic to boot in addition to that. So they're going to be like that's one of my goals. I'd really
that
like
would
to
be
do
cool.
that.
That would be cool. Chad wants to know, have you worked Tri-Stripe into Axanthic yet? Which, Chad, I will say this. Tri-Stripe and Axanthic, I've always been on the fence about Tri-Stripe. Tri-Stripe Axanthic literally has made my jaw drop, just the contrast that it has. Like, I don't know why. It seems like the contrast is just hyped up. Maybe it's the photos. I don't know. But Tri-Stripe and Axanthic, in my opinion, work fantastic.
Yeah, I think Tri-Stripes are cool animals, and then I think adding Axanthicism to them, getting the color just right, like with Fire DG, something like that would look amazing. So I have not done that. I've had Tri-Stripe, Poshead, Axanthic animals, and I just got out of it. It just wasn't something I was going to put energy into. That's actually the funny thing is you think about how many different animals or genes you get into and you get out of because of just changing priorities. I'll never forget, I got Enchi stuff to make my own TSK Enchis, like 2005, 2006. And I was like, nah, this won't look cool. I don't really want to do that, blah, 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 because Enchis were popular at the time. And I got out and I had this like amazing looking Enchi female, probably the best looking single gene Enchi I've ever seen in my life. And then a handful of years later, I'm like, nope, I really want to do this. So then I got back in and, did end up making my, putting Enchi into my own stuff. And it turned out great. I'm like, this is fantastic. Had I just not went through that mental breakdown of, I can only do so many projects, and she's not one of them, blah, blah, blah. No, I love Enchi and Axanthic stuff. Absolutely love it. So, you kind of go through that where you think of a project, you get into it, and you're like, no, I don't think I want to do it. So Tri-Stripe for me was one of those. If somebody ends up having a, Tri-Stripe Axanthic female that I can't say no to, right, I might get into that and see what I can do with it. But for now, there's a lot of things anymore that I'm like, I don't have to be the first. I don't have to be the person that takes the codom gene or whatever gene recessive and mix it in. I can let other people do that, and then I can just pull them in and add them to some other stuff I'm working. So I've kind of come to terms with that.
Grim Reaper says that they're adding TSK into their Pompeii stuff. See, now that's one thing that I thought would be neat looking too, is, you get into some of these stacked clown combos, but then part of me also gets the thing. It's like, well, some of the IDing features of some of those, at least for my colorblind ass, is the color and the tones that it throws to ID them. So it's like, are you going to be able to tell if you hit what you think you hit?
Right.
Which in itself adds a totally different challenge. And I guess you could always shed test everything just to prove it out. But no, that is axanthic Pompeii. That I have thought that would be a cool looking animal.
Yeah, and I mean, where my mind would go with that is, and of course, it's a one-up of just a straight Pompeii, and I forget what it's called, but JSA hatched a Pompeii with one other gene that I'm spacing on what it is. That's like, go ahead.
Was it special? I know somebody had a special Pompeii.
It was a special Pompeii. Thank you. Yep, that's it. That I think, because of how bright it is, that was axanthic, fantastic.
Yes.
Yep. Because that's really gonna make axanthic fit well with it when those yellows turn white.
Because I remember because I think Dave Kaufman did a video on it, and when I saw it, like I think they were even trying to name it, and I commented.
That's what
I was gonna say. I commented. I was like, name it freaking Mount Vesuvius, because I was like, if the thing blew the Pompeii out of the water. And I think they actually did. I think they did go with it or something like that.
Yeah, they had some cards with that stuff on it.
So I was kind of a little proud, little moment there. I think I was the one that threw that out there first. But it did, like, the second they threw that out and they were trying to figure out a name for it, it's like Vesuvius, man. It's like, it's right there. It's like just use it. But yeah. Now, you were seeing about with your kids, John. Now, obviously, I don't know how old they are, but are they interested in the snakes and stuff? Because I know, like, my teenager, Dom, he's 17. He helps me film. Doesn't really, like, he'll help me out at shows. He's kind of getting to learn a little bit of stuff, but you can tell he's not exactly into it. Right now, it's the girls. I mean, I get it, the age is the issue there. But my second youngest, which is 4, I have a hard time coming down here without her coming along to see the snakes and stuff. Like, she wants to do everything reptile wise with that. Like, are your kids very active with the snakes and stuff? Or they is that not their thing?
I mean, it is. Like, my son really likes it from like, he wants to go get a snake and hold it while he watches a movie or TV or something, or wants to go see them or see the babies hatch or hold them and this and that. Daughter, a little bit the same. She just doesn't like to interact with them as much. But like, none of them are helping clean cages or anything of the sort, unfortunately. So they're just not at that age really yet, I think. So yeah. I think they will be to a degree, but I think it's, right now they're still discovering. They're pretty young. I mean, they're 5 and 7, so they're still kind of discovering what they like and what they're into and stuff like that. So yeah. So
I think it would be neat. At least I'm sure you probably have this thought in the back of your head too. But for me, like, I would love nothing more than to build this up. Not only like the snakes, but the YouTube channel as well. Get it built up, and when it comes time, be like, you know what, I'm done with all of this. Here you kids go. Like, have them like transition them slowly into it, but then pass it off to them. Let it. I always tell my wife, I was like, I'm building an empire. Like, I want to build an empire to be able to pass off to the kids, so that way they can be their own boss. Hopefully, the market, get, like you said, there's the ups and downs. Hopefully, it goes in the direction that we all want it to go, and it's to where they could sustain their way of living off of it, and just like turn it into a family business thing and pass it down.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, I'll be honest. Like, I look at it as a little bit of a burden, because if it became a different beast, in my current situation where, if I for some reason pass away, right, my kids they're 5 and 7. They're not going to be able to take care of animals or take it on or anything. So then I got to find somebody, in my will that's going to end up, getting the animals to people that are going to take care of them, and hopefully sell them and feed the money back into my family, stuff like that. But the the business name, the business valuation, JD and JD Constriction, right? It'll be gone. So there's no legacy for me to really carry on today. So that's where my mind's kind of at, is like, okay, does this even live on beyond me or not? And when is that? What does that look like, right? So yeah, I'm getting way too philosophical for you, but
well, no, like it's how do I want to put it? I can resonate with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Reason being, my father passed away this year. He was a big time gun collector and spent his whole life. That was his thing. He collected guns. And my brother and I are now left with, we're trying to work through everything and, piece things out and this and that. And like, it has made me think, same lines. If this isn't something that the kids decide to take over, this falls on my wife or if I somehow, I don't see how it'll happen, but if I somehow outlive her, it then falls on the kids, is that it? Or is it like, because it does become a burden to an extent. And then it's like, okay, well, thankfully I've got enough close friends that are like family anyway, that hopefully they'll step in right away and say, hey, do you need help, and help work through everything. But what you're saying has, definitely crossed my mind as well.
Yeah. And where I go too is, so my dad owned a fairly successful farm implement business for almost 40 years. And there was, I don't want to say it was a running joke, but it was almost a joke. Like, as we were going up through high school and college, he's like, yeah, so who's going to come and take care of the family business? And I don't think he was serious, but like at the same time, none of us, like there's 4 of us kids, none of us were interested in taking over a successful farm implement business. Like, that's not what we wanted to do with our life. That was his deal. So even if it was like, here you go and inherit the keys to the kingdom, like none of us were interested in taking it over. So I look at the snake business in the same way. Like,
That's true.
Time will tell. The kids will either be like, okay, I'm totally geeked out about this, and maybe they'll start doing their own pairings and this and that, and having their own maybe even business name or whatnot that they'll start developing, or they'll be like, yeah, that's dad's bag. I don't want anything to do with it. So that's also where my head's at, in all honesty, is I just go back to that. Not sure what the right answer is, but time will tell, right? I for me, it was always a hobby. It turned into a business, built a business, name and brand underneath it. And the thing I definitely want to keep doing is be involved in the industry moving forward. That was kind of, because I'll admit, like, I had a deciding point in my life within the past year where it was like, do I just give this all up? Because, with the kids and with everything, like, do I just close the door on it and be like, I'm just going to focus on my day job and do that? And the reality was, I would miss it. I absolutely would miss it. I love the animals. I love the projects. I love the community. I just can't. I spent 20 years in it. I don't want to move away from it.
It's a part of you. Like, literally,
it is a part of you.
A part of you at this point.
Yep. And so now what do I have to do? I have to reshape it to what makes sense for my new life, right? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it, more manageable, smaller scale, I think higher end, and focus on those areas and have it be my, like I said, like what brings me happiness is spending the time with people. So yeah, I'm going to a minimal amount of shows where I'm vending, but I'm probably going to go to 4 to 6 shows outside of that a year just to show up, see people, endorse their businesses. If you've been watching my Instagram, that's what you'll see is, oh, John's at this show. Oh, John's that show. 80% of the time I'm not vending. I'm just there to meet people, to talk to people, to, see how things are going, to stay involved and support the industry that I do love, because I get a lot of personal value out of that. I enjoy that aspect of it. So I'm going to keep doing that.
See, I think, actually, before I dive into that, Sean says, JD and Jeremy, would it be okay if my friends and I message y'all on Instagram? We're all new breeders and want to learn more. Yeah, that's fine with me, Sean. That is fine with me. Hit me up on Instagram. As John was saying, he's got kids. I've got kids. So if we don't get back to you right away, just give us a little bit of leeway.
Yep, that's right.
Things do get crazy, and it's funny that you, with the time management and stuff like that. I had a moment a couple weeks ago, and I'll thank my buddy Nathan here, and my other buddy John and his wife Christine. They're from Triforce Morphs. They're channel sponsors, but basically they are family to me. John hopped on the live with me that night, kind of gave me a pep talk. The next day, Nathan calls me up, chews me out in the right way that I needed to kind of like put things into reality a little bit, and then basically sat me down, helped me work through a whole bunch of different little odds and ends. And because my whole big thing was, between the channel, the snakes, a whole bunch of stuff, I was just having time issues. Like literally just time was not working for me. Thanks to Nathan and some of, a lot of his advice, literally within the first week, my wife said to me, she goes, "This is really nice with how this is working out. Like you're around a little bit more, I'm happy. The kids are happy that you're not down in the snake room all the time." And I was just like, all right, we're good. Like if we can just keep doing this, we're good. So thanks to Nathan and John and Christine, everything will be staying the same. Because I was going to, I thought about cutting down like the live streams to like, once every 2 weeks. Like I was just trying to figure out a way to make a little more time. Mm-hmm. But they walked me through and helped me figure all that shit out.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel you on the whole time thing, man.
Yeah, and dude, I don't know how you do it. Like I've got 50 bazillion great ideas of what to do for live streams and this and that, but I'm like, I have zero time, and I've bet on enough of them that I'm like, oh, this is great. This, could be different, whatever. But yeah, zero time. I'll give you a funny anecdote, right? So I have a Patreon set up.
Okay.
Nobody's on it because I haven't shared it because I'm just not ready. And I even put a lot of thought into it and structure on how it's set up and things like that. But I just don't have the time to support it. Like I have to get in full disclosure, right? My life's gone through a lot of change in the past year with things. So I still have to find out what's my new normal look like? What's my new schedule look like? Like I'm still figuring that out right now. January, maybe I'll have that figured out, after a full year of things in the new environment they're in.
You figure, you've been in the same routine for years. Mm-hmm. Now you're totally switching gears.
Yes.
It's definitely going to take a little bit of time, to get back to being that synchronized machine again.
Right. Exactly. So, yep. And I'm looking forward to figuring it out.
Jamie says, Jeremy and John, you can both adopt me. I will carry on your legacy. Oh, man, that's funny, Jamie. You're funny. Nathan says, don't worry, Jeremy. We will liquidate all of your bird food. Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate you, bro.
So supportive.
You know what, though? Like I said, the second this man saw me in slight distress, he called me up the next day and, like, everybody's heard of tough love. And sometimes in our group, in our tight-knit group, that's what you get is tough love. And literally sometimes that's what you need. You need that tough love pep talk to kind of be the slap to the face to wake your ass up and be like, all right, you know what? You're right. I need to put my big boy pants on and keep trudging forward and figure this out instead of just like raise the white flag and give up too quick.
Right.
James says you wouldn't even have to change the name.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Balls and Golans, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, everybody, smash that like button, please. Let's see. Sean, everyone on here is awesome. Yes. Everyone on here, I believe you can reach out to Sean and they will help you out. Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you very much. Robinson Exotic Reptiles, what's up? You guys are gonna have to go and rewatch the live because you guys missed a lot if you're just coming in. But John, it is 10 o'clock, man. And I've been trying to keep the show down to 2 hours. So if you're all right with it, bro, we're gonna call it a night.
Yep,
we definitely got to do it again though, because I do
keep
enjoy
me on the
bullshitting.
Rolodex. Appreciate you having me on again anytime you want to come back and talk about things. Maybe hatching season next year we can circle back and see how things went. Talk about my new life and where the reptile game is and how the kids are doing. All that. I'd love to do that.
That'll work, dude. I do. Last year you hatched. God, all right. I do want to know what happened to the snake, because you probably. I can't believe you would have sold it, but it's possible you would have sold it.
Anything's possible.
Let me see if I can't find it quick, because like I said, I mean, the thing definitely is probably the highlight of the year, of your year for me anyway. This one. Let me see if I can't.
Yes. I hatched 2 of
Have
those.
that one?
I sold it. I hatched 2 of them. Yeah,
dude, when you hit that, I was just like,
yeah.
Oh,
I'm trying to remember what all was in that animal, but that's a spider, orange dream, fire, something, if I remember right. So maybe leopard. I don't remember, but yeah, it was no pastel whatsoever. Again, that's where Orange Dream's a freaking sleeper. Is you make a really cool Orange Dream combo and you add axanthic to it. It's a white or silver or gray animal, and it's so clean and looks so nice.
See, that's one thing I agree 100%. Because even with fire, like Zebra BI hit this year has fire in it, freaking phenomenal, like super clean. Not nowhere near like that, but super freaking clean. But like I saw that just like, oh, definitely made me want to try to mimic that one. That's for damn sure. But like, here's the thing, and I know I was trying to shut it down, but everybody, Spider has, everybody talks shit on Spider. Spider was so meant for axanthic. Like, it was literally, I think, like, that was Spider's calling, was in axanthic, because it just looks so damn good. And I will tell you this much: when it comes to like the axanthic combos with Spider, I've noticed people don't care. Like, they are just that taken away by Spider in those combos that they're ready to hand you the money. They don't care as long as it doesn't do crazy shit. It's all good.
Yep.
But John, I appreciate it, dude. Just hang on here 1 second. Everybody, I greatly appreciate you all tuning in. We had like up around 40 people tonight, so that's a good turnout. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Please, if you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, please. Greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, it's been now every Thursday, because I've been a slacker and the way time has been kind of working out here. Been every Thursday I've been dropping a weekly video. This week's video, the pod clutch has hatched. The last clutch of the season is out. And I have to, again, go against what I've told myself as how I wasn't going to keep any holdbacks, and I think I'm keeping one out of it. So that's been my problem for the year. I'm going to sell everything. Nope, that one's going to stay. So keep a lookout for that video. It should drop Thursday. I'm going to try to see if I can't get it out Wednesday. Try to get back on the schedule. But we'll see. If it's not Wednesday, it'll be out Thursday. And next week, folks, I have John from 121 Mutations, another person from the PA crew, going to be on. So super excited to have John on. That'll be fun. John's got some zebra stuff, and he's working some killer stuff to be on the lookout for. So make sure you guys do tune in for that. If you don't know much about John, he is kind of one of those sleeper guys. I mean, he's got some killer stuff, but you might not have heard about him. So make sure you guys do tune in for that one. And I'm trying to think we've got another live auction. Let me figure it. Look here. On the 24th, we have a live auction with Nathan from Infinite Possible Pythons. Also heard a slight little rumor maybe that we might be having another person hopping in with us, though, and participating in the live auction as well. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you guys mark your calendar, save your pennies for that auction. You guys know, like, there's always some killer stuff that happens and that pops up. So make sure you guys are ready for that. And in December sometime, I will be doing a Christmas special where you guys are all used to seeing the same promos. Well, one of the Christmas lives, we're going to change the promos up a little bit. But I'm going to try to have all the sponsors on here for that, so that way you guys can see their reactions after their promo airs. So we're going to throw them a little bit of a curveball and see if we can't bring some cheer into the end of the year as well. But again, everybody, greatly appreciate all the love and support. John, thank you again, bro, so much. Greatly
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks,
No
guys.
problem. Anytime, man. Hang on here 1 second, and everybody have an awesome week. Greatly appreciate it, and don't work too hard. Nobody, just don't work too hard. Enjoy yourself. I'll catch you next time. Later.